as long as the speed of light doesn't increase, we're always going to have these issues. So unfortunately, unless we defy the laws of physics, yes, we are probably going to have these issues. What changes is that with more processing power, we are able to do better predictions. So even nowadays, now there are some games that are able uh, to do this, that are super optimized for these algorithms and are able to reconcile the information very fast and to predict the information very accurately. So with more processing power, we will be more and more able to like cover up, to compensate for latency. So even though we do not defy the laws of physics, we can always, solve the issue on the other end. Like we can become better at predicting, pretty much.
So even if you have the fastest internet in the world, it's still a matter of physics, and you still need to predict something because we can't kind of break the speed of light.
Yeah, unless you are playing with somebody that is very close geographically to you, you are always going to face that kind of issue. But like even a few milliseconds make an entire difference, especially in games like fighter games, where you have frame animations, where every frame counts. Even a latency of 16 milliseconds is going to have an impact. Lower than that, not. If your game is running at 60 FPS, for example, frames per second, because it takes 16 milliseconds to process one single frame, if you do the math. But like for more than 16, that's going to take the need of prediction and reconciliation or netcode rollback.
Super cool, honestly. Can you talk to me a little bit about your work at Unity? Because that's a really big, like, what is Unity first for the audience that don't know? What do they do?
Yeah.
And
So, sorry, I thought you finished.
no. And what's your role in there? Sorry.
Yeah. So Unity is a game engine company, I would say, even though nowadays it does. I mean, that's how it was born 12 years ago or something, 11 years ago or something. But nowadays they also do other things. They have other verticals about industry, architecture, blah blah blah. So, but like the main core of Unity is a game engine. Okay, so they make this software, we make this software that you can use to make your own games. So you don't have to reinvent a game engine from scratch, which can take you like several years of development to get the engine, and then you have to make the game with the engine. So the idea is that you can use Unity and you can make games faster. You don't have to focus on the underlying technology. You can instead focus on like your gameplay mechanics and making your game. So that's what Unity is. What I do at Unity, I work in the multiplayer development experience now, which is like the latest name. We change it every 3 weeks when there is a reorganization, like in every big company. So probably if you watch this podcast in 1 month, it might
It'll be a different acronym.
Yeah, it would be exactly. But like what my team does right now is that we take care of tools that help you make multiplayer games. So specifically, what I do right now is I take care of samples and templates. Samples are like example projects that show you how to do something, and templates are starting projects, like projects that you download and then you build your own game based on that. Like they quick start you, they give you ready to use systems, features that work out of the box. So you don't have to figure out, hey, how do I connect two players with each other? How do I have a game loop where information can be synchronized? How do I handle latency? How do I detect that the game ended and these kind of things? So that's what I do right now. I basically work on those two types of things that help people develop multiplayer games faster.
I'm going to play devil's advocate because I've had chats about Unity and Unreal with other individuals, and some have told me that it's always better for a game to build their own engine because that makes the game feel better. Like if you're going to build a Far Cry, or if you're going to build, and maybe this is all in Unity and Unreal, but a lot of companies will build their own, like EA has Frostbite, I think, etc. What is the take in terms of using these, which I think are very handy and very incredible tools out of the box to have all these physics in them, so you don't have to do a bunch of work, compared to a company that takes the time and builds their own kind of physics engine, their own multiplayer kind of frameworks? What are the pros and cons of doing so?
Yeah. So let me answer that question. I would also give you a bit of historical context before. So many nowadays big companies their own game engine because, you know, a couple decades ago, there was no general purpose engine. Like Unity and Unreal came available to the public, you know, pretty recently, I would say, in the history of games. Okay, so there was no other option in the past. And of course, like these big companies that invested a lot of money into making their own version of what they need to do to make their own games, they are you know, it's hard for them to switch to something different. There are companies that are switching. For example, Kingdom Hearts 3, which is not a multiplayer game, but like Kingdom Hearts 3 was made with Unreal, and the first Kingdom Hearts were not. Okay, so there are, and that's from Square Enix. Okay,
Yeah.
so there are a few companies that do the switch nowadays, but others are simply, you know, they've built this tool that works, and they have no reason to switch, so they just stay with that. But like that said, what is a good reason for doing your own game engine? Yes, of course, you have something that is tailored and optimized for your exact game that you want to make. So that's the main advantage in reality. What are the disadvantages? The disadvantage is that a tool that you make is only known to you. So if you need somebody to like start working on your engine, you can't search for somebody that has, let's say, Frostbite experience or CryEngine experience if the CryEngine is not available to the public. So it becomes harder for like from a workforce point of view to find out people who have the knowledge to work on your tool. They will have to learn your tool first. So that means that your talent pool is very limited, okay? And if you have a problem with something, if you have a bug, who do you ask? Like you can only ask the internal team because like nobody knows how your engine works, right?
You're never gonna fire that guy, right? He's like, we need you. Like, you can't leave.
I mean, the industry is doing that, but like, so the thing is that it becomes very hard to maintain your own engine, you know, because you are the only person you can ask help to, and that is a big problem in reality. That is a big problem in reality, which is why a lot of games actually carry bugs from one game to another in when they are done with custom engines. So yeah, with custom engine, with in-house engines. So and the other advantage, the other disadvantage is that basically there is less tooling and plugins and things that you can add to your game and integrate into your game because the community is simply not there. Like there is no community around custom engines. That's why it's custom, you know, because it's only owned by the company. And so the community is the community of the company. There is nobody developing plugins for you. While if you use Unreal or if you use Unity, there are the asset store, there are plugins, community contributions, you know, GitHub repositories where you can download anything and that they can integrate into your project. So the advantage of general purpose engines is that you have a community of people that supports you and can help you, and you can find a lot of talent that is able to quickly ramp up and start working on your project because they already know the tool pretty much.
Can you talk to me a little bit about plugins and like community building around engines? How does that work? How do you build? Just how do you get people to build additions to that hook into an engine? Like, what does it mean to even build a plugin?
So, like, I can speak from the Unity perspective because I never used Unreal seriously. So, like, let me talk about my Unity experience, okay? But as a developer, not as a
please.
that works in it. So, as a developer, like at my studios, because I had two, like the one that died and the one that it's running now.
And we'll get into those.
We get it. Like you always have the need to build custom tools for your team because you have repetitive actions in your project that you want to automate. You want to help designers edit things that will normally be editable only by developers, you know. So you need to build some tooling in your engine for your project, okay? And sometimes you build these tools in a way that is so generic that it could be shared with the rest of the world. Like if I build a cheat window where I can run cheats, for example, if I'm making a card game, I want to draw 10 cards, okay, or I want to deal a lot of damage to my opponents, or I want to destroy everything that is on the board, I can do that in two ways. I can either play the cards that lead me to that result, Or I can have a quick window in my editor where I can press a button to draw 10 cards, right?
And boom.
So
Yeah.
I definitely want to do that because I don't want to waste half an hour drawing 10 cards with the standard game mechanics. And if I make that tool, then I can make it general enough so that anybody can download that and create their own cheats. So I can put that stuff on the asset store or on a marketplace, and like I can let anybody download that and maybe pay me for doing that. So that's how plugins are born, like from a team that is trying to create something that is useful for themselves, and they say, oh wow, this can be useful for somebody else working on the same type of game, or like, this is so generic that it could be used in any game.